Good.
We've got these powers for a reason. Let's use them.
Transformers 1 marks a major shift in the long-running Transformers franchise, taking audiences back to the very beginning of the conflict that shaped the fate of Cybertron and defined the relationship between two of its most iconic figures. Instead of focusing on Earth or the familiar human perspective that dominated many earlier films, this story explores Cybertron itself as a living, breathing world long before its destruction and exile. By stepping into this earlier era, the film presents a chance to understand how a society of sentient machines functioned at its peak and how deep-rooted divisions eventually led to one of the most devastating civil wars in science fiction lore. The narrative centers on a time when Cybertron was still a thriving technological civilization, filled with towering metallic cities, vast energy networks, and a rigid social structure that dictated how each Transformer lived and worked. At the heart of this society were strict hierarchies that separated the elite ruling class from the workers who maintained the planet's infrastructure. These inequalities created a simmering tension that most citizens tried to ignore. But for a few individuals, the imbalance felt impossible to accept. Among them were two friends whose bond was built on shared dreams, curiosity, and a desire to rise above the limitations placed upon them. Their friendship is portrayed as genuine and deeply rooted in mutual respect, with both characters initially striving toward the same goals. They explore hidden parts of Cybertron together, question the rules imposed by their leaders, and imagine a future where they might play a greater role in shaping their world. These early moments emphasize camaraderie and optimism, presenting them not as destined enemies, but as partners whose ideals simply take different paths over time. This emotional foundation becomes crucial later, because the eventual conflict between them is not born out of hatred but from diverging philosophies about power, justice, and the best way to change a broken system. As the story progresses, the two friends begin to encounter evidence that Cybertron's leadership has been hiding uncomfortable truths about the planet's resources and history. Restricted archives, sealed-off districts, and heavily guarded energy reserves hint at a deeper conspiracy designed to maintain the authority of those at the top. While one of them reacts with cautious curiosity, believing reform can be achieved through careful investigation and diplomacy, the other becomes increasingly frustrated, interpreting the secrecy as proof that the system is corrupt beyond repair. This ideological rift slowly widens, even as they continue to rely on each other in dangerous situations. The film's world-building plays a crucial role in illustrating what is at stake. Cybertron is depicted not just as a backdrop, but as a character in its own right, with sprawling cityscapes, glowing data streams, and industrial zones where countless Transformers labor endlessly. The contrast between the luxurious districts of the ruling class and the harsh, energy-starved areas inhabited by workers reinforces the themes of inequality and exploitation. Viewers are given a sense of how advanced and beautiful Cybertron once was, making its eventual fall feel all the more tragic and inevitable. A turning point in the story occurs when the two protagonists stumble upon a secret that reveals the true source of Cybertron's energy crisis and the lengths to which the leadership has gone to conceal it. This discovery forces them to make difficult choices about whether to expose the truth or protect themselves from the consequences of challenging authority. One of them sees this as an opportunity to inspire peaceful change and rally others around a movement for reform. The other, however, begins to believe that only force and decisive action can dismantle a system so deeply entrenched in lies and oppression. Their disagreement is not portrayed as a sudden betrayal, but as a gradual transformation fueled by personal experiences, perceived injustices, and the influence of other figures who manipulate their emotions and ambitions. As new allies and rivals enter their lives, each friend is pulled further along a path that reinforces their existing beliefs. One finds mentors who emphasize discipline, patience, and the importance of unity, while the other is encouraged by more radical voices, who preach that history is shaped by those willing to seize power rather than ask for permission. Action sequences throughout the film are used not only to entertain but to reflect the escalating tension within Cybertron. Early conflicts are smaller in scale, involving street-level chases, underground confrontations, and experimental transformations that showcase the characters' developing abilities. As the stakes rise, these skirmishes evolve into large-scale clashes between opposing factions, with advanced weaponry, massive war machines, and entire city sectors caught in the crossfire. The animation style allows for fluid and dynamic transformations, emphasizing the mechanical complexity and individuality of each transformer while maintaining clarity during fast-paced battles. The emotional core of the story remains anchored in the deteriorating friendship between the two central characters. Even as they begin to lead different groups and adopt opposing strategies, moments of hesitation and lingering affection reveal that neither of them has fully let go of the bond they once shared. Confrontations between them are layered with both anger and sadness, as each tries to convince the other that their vision for Cybertron's future is the correct one. These exchanges highlight the tragedy of their situation, two individuals who might have changed their world together instead becoming the catalysts for its destruction. Supporting characters add depth to this conflict by representing the broader population of Cybertron. Some are loyal to the established order out of fear or genuine belief in its stability, while others quietly support the idea of rebellion but are too afraid to act openly. There are also those who attempt to remain neutral, focusing only on survival as tensions escalate around them. Through these perspectives, the film illustrates how large-scale conflicts are rarely driven by just two leaders but are shaped by countless personal decisions, made by ordinary individuals. As open warfare begins to loom, the tone of the film grows darker. The vibrant energy lines that once lit Cybertron cities begin to flicker, and previously bustling districts fall into ruin as resources are diverted toward military production. Propaganda spreads on both sides, each faction portraying the other as a threat to the planet's survival. The protagonists, now firmly positioned as leaders of their respective movements, are forced to make increasingly harsh decisions, sometimes sacrificing their own ideals in order to maintain the loyalty of their followers. The climactic stages of the story focus on a series of battles that determine not only the fate of Cybertron but also the final shape of the relationship between the two former friends. Their last encounters are charged with years of unresolved emotions, ideological clashes, and the weight of the destruction that has unfolded around them. Dialogue in these moments reflects both their shared past and the irreconcilable differences that now separate them, reinforcing the sense that this conflict was avoidable yet somehow inevitable given the forces at play. Visually, the film distinguishes itself through a bold animated style that blends metallic realism with expressive character design. Each transformer is given distinct body language, facial features, and transformation mechanics that help convey personality and emotion despite their mechanical forms. The environments shift from pristine metallic landscapes to war-torn ruins, mirroring the narrative's progression from hope to devastation. Lighting plays a key role in setting the mood, with warm, vibrant tones dominating the early scenes and colder, harsher hues taking over as the war intensifies. Sound design and music further enhance the cinematic experience, combining mechanical transformation sounds with sweeping orchestral themes that underscore the epic scale of the story. Quieter moments are often accompanied by subtle ambient noises, such as the hum of energy conduits or distant machinery, creating a sense of place that grounds even the most fantastical elements in a believable reality. As the story moves toward its climax, the score grows more dramatic and somber, reflecting the loss and irreversible consequences of the characters' choices. By focusing on origins rather than continuing an already familiar storyline, Transformers One offers audiences a fresh perspective on characters they thought they understood. It explores how heroes and villains are not born, but shaped by circumstances, choices, and the environments in which they grow. The film's exploration of class divisions, political manipulation, and the corrupting influence of power gives it thematic weight that goes beyond typical action-driven storytelling, encouraging viewers to think about the real-world parallels of such conflicts. In its final moments, the story leaves Cybertron on the brink of a prolonged war that will eventually force many of its inhabitants to flee their home planet in search of new worlds and new beginnings. The friendship that once symbolized hope for unity becomes a symbol of what was lost, setting the stage for the generations-long struggle that defines the larger Transformers saga. This ending not only ties the film into the broader mythology, but also stands on its own as a poignant reminder of how easily noble intentions can be twisted when fear, ambition, and mistrust take control. Through its blend of character-driven drama, expansive world building,